All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom's instant reaction to AEW's Full Gear for 2020. We just wrapped up with an I Quit match between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And what a brutal match. It feels like that is the calling card for Jon Moxley and AEW, especially at Full Gear. If you go back to last year, you're going to remember that he had that ultra violent match with Kenny Omega. Fast forward to today, and then it's another very violent match, this time with Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match, as I mentioned. Jon Moxley retains. This was a fun one. This one was really, really good. It was really, really physical, somewhat to be expected, but still interesting. One of my favorite spots from this match was the alcohol Eddie Kingston poured on Jon Moxley's back after Jon Moxley was thrown into the thumbtacks. Thought that was really good. So we're just coming off of that main event. Right after the match, Kenny Omega comes out to let Jon Moxley know that he's coming for him. So Jon Moxley, as soon as he's done with one contender, gets thrown right back into the lion's den, and now has Kenny Omega, the new version, the cleaner, looking up on that task of becoming the champion. So that was where we're just wrapping up, and Full Gear was good. I thought it was a touch too long. I thought, being completely transparent, I thought maybe the Hardy-Sammy Guevara match could have been cut from this, and then it would have felt a little bit better as far as length of pay-per-view. I was getting a little tired, as you can tell from my eyes. That was a long pay-per-view, right? We started with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, and we ended with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, but we had a lot sandwiched in there. And I thought a little bit was hampered, at least getting into the main event, with how long the pay-per-view was. What's going on? Hey, I see you there. Appreciate you joining the live chat. If you have a question while we're doing this, feel free to drop that down below. We're not going to get too long into these videos as we're kind of starting this out. Just going to be transparent there because I want to give more of a full reaction with Tim on the Spanish announce table proper. That is recorded on Thursday nights, typically released on a Friday or maybe Saturday because, you know, we've got real lives going on. But let's get into a quick recap of just the highlights that stuck with me as we're coming off the end of Full Gear. Was really, really interested in the Kenny Omega Adam Page match. Thought it was awesome. Thought it was very, very it was physical. It was definitely a physical match, but it wasn't the brutality like we saw in the main event with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. I thought it's told a good story. I thought, honestly, that post-match non-celebration, non-acknowledgement of what happened, Kenny Omega just said, "Hey, good job, pal," and left as if they weren't tag team champions for 200+ days. And then Adam Page looked like a lost puppy. But I really enjoyed the post-match for the majority of the matches. My favorite being after the Young Bucks beat FTR for the tag team championships, which again was a very fun match. You saw Kenny Omega come out, celebrate with the Young Bucks, and then in the tunnel, Hangman Adam Page, being the odd man out, standing there wanting to celebrate, it seemed like, but also feeling like he may not be welcomed to celebrate in the ring with the Young Bucks. So that was really interesting. But the big takeaways for me, Kenny Omega is the cleaner. I like this version. He gets a clean victory over Hangman Adam Page. Hangman was kind of trying to fight that one-winged angel. He ends up falling victim to that, and also falling victim to a pin loss from Kenny Omega. FTR versus the Young Bucks, this dream match that was built up over years. It fell flat. I didn't necessarily think it was a home run. I didn't think it lived up to the expectations that both maybe they and the wrestling community had. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, and I thought the right people won. I thought it's time now. Let's get the Young Bucks as champions and see what they can do. Let's get them as champions in the ring with some other tag teams to see what they can do and, hold court in the most stacked division in pro wrestling, in my opinion, and that is the tag division in AEW. So that was a big takeaway as well. Like I said, the length of the pay-per-view was the biggest high-level view, what I'll recap with Tim about on Thursday night of what I'm going to take away. It just felt a little too long. It just felt a touch too much. But going back to the positives, Darby Allin becoming your TNT champion, I thought was really good. I think it's going to be interesting how Cody rebounds from this, because he went on one knee, he gave the championship to Darby Allin as if he was proposing to him. That kind of felt a little weird. Arn Anderson was pissed, rightfully so. That's his student. He shouldn't be losing from roll-ups such as that from a lighter weight guy such as Darby Allin. Post-match, I liked how Taz came out and was like, all right, let's stop with the hugging and kissing and sentimental bullshit. We're going to fuck you up, right? And so here comes Brian Cage and Team Taz as it is, and they beat up on Cody. They beat up on Darby Allin, and then Will Hobbs makes the save to stop Darby Allin from getting his arm broken in a car door from Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. So I thought that was good. I feel like we need to start wrapping some of these feuds up, though. As I mentioned, the Hardy-Guevara thing touched too long as far as length quality, and also I don't know if this was necessarily needed, especially on a pay-per-view. It was fine. It was good. That last spot was brutal with the chair shot to the back of the head of Sammy Guevara. I don't know how he's going to come back from this, especially being in the Inner Circle. So we'll see what happens there. And speaking of the Inner Circle, MJF gets the Eddie finish. I don't know if that's what we're calling it, but that's what I call it. The Eddie finish with Chris Jericho having the bat, MJF acting as if he was hit by the bat, Jericho pleading his case to the ref. In this case, though, MJF gets the roll-up victory. Now he is a part of the Inner Circle. Side note, though, so is Wardlow, which I know that was kind of alluded to, but then it was just thrown in there at the end. That post-match fallout felt a little flat, if I'm going to be honest, where just Jericho and MJF raise each other's hands after they went through, finger pokes and low blows and, shenanigans as such. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Question here, does MJF even need to be in a faction? No, I don't think so. So, one thing that was asked on the Spanish Announce Table Twitter account at Table Show, if you'd like to follow, was why does MJF even want to be in the Inner Circle? And one thing of note was MJF saying, hey, to get noticed around here, it seems like you need to be a part of a faction. He was referencing Eddie Kingston. Obviously, he was referencing Chris Jericho. Even before Eddie Kingston's family, there was Pac and the Lucha Bros. So he was essentially saying, like, the only way I can become relevant and stay on television is if I'm in a group. And so what better group to join than the best one, the Inner Circle? And so I understand that point of view from the character standpoint. But to me, MJF Wardlow is, Shawn Michaels Diesel or Shawn Michaels Sid, whatever you want to call it as far as your favorite version. But that's the money for me. I don't think MJF adding to a faction is really needed. Now, as you may have heard on the podcast, as I've been alluding to, I still think the payoff here is going to be MJF takes over the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho gets kicked out. That was another point that was pretty interesting, is it was clear MJF was the heel, Chris Jericho was the babyface. His songs and his song as he's making his entrance is getting more and more over. Hopefully, right, as COVID, hopefully we flatten the curve. Outside factors will determine that, and we can potentially get fans back in. That's only going to get louder and louder. The fans singing the Judas song because they want to do that. So I think with those determining factors, the move to make is have MJF take over the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho then becomes a sympathetic babyface. That's the next evolution for Chris Jericho, because now he's done everything as a heel in AEW, but we've yet to see him as a babyface. I think that's the transition you make. We shall see. But to answer your question, I just think MJF needs to be that standalone ratings ruler that he is. So we'll see what happens. As I mentioned, guys, not going to keep it too long with this video. We're already topping 10 minutes because, you know, I'm a gas bag and that's what I do is give hot takes. So I don't know what that was. Yeah, definitely agree. You guys can read the comments. I won't get too crazy right now. Maybe a little bit of why I'm exhausted is because of the outside pro wrestling news, which has been both interesting and invigorating, but I'll just leave it at that for right now. But thank you guys again for tuning in. As always, catch us on the Spanish Announce Table proper, where Tim and I will give our recaps. Thank you guys again for joining this instant reaction as I just ramble on about AEW Full Gear, and tune in for the next one. And as always, keep loving pro wrestling.